now. Hi, I am Jake Cadwell with Cross Country Mortgage, and you are tuning in to episode 8 of the Northern Colorado Veteran-Owned Small Business Series, where each week we highlight a local business and discuss their journey from where they started to where they are today. And today we have Michelle Roberts with Veterans Housing Network, and you can check them out on social media and their website, veteransHousingNetwork.com. Michelle is a vet and a former commander of the VFW Post 1781 in Fort Collins. So Michelle,
hello.
Thanks for coming on. Glad to have you.
Thanks for inviting me. It's a privilege.
Well, we appreciate it. We've got to know each other a little bit over the last week, so I'm so glad you're able to come on. But I just kind of want to kick this off. I want to get your story. So where are you from, Michelle?
Originally from Michigan, a little cow town that had a bar and a post office out of Lake Michigan. So that's where I grew up for the most part, and moved out to Colorado before I joined the military, and then moved back here about 10 years ago.
Oh, nice. I'm from a very similar town in South Dakota. You know, you have all the necessities, your post office, your church,
Yep.
and your bars.
Yep, and they're all right.
That's all you need to survive. Yeah, that's right.
That's all I have. And a bunch of good people. That was it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you grew up in Michigan, up around there, and when you graduate high school, you decide to join the military. So what branch did you go into?
So I went in the Air Force. I think some people like to call it the cheer force, but that's okay. I'm
Sometimes.
Okay with that. Yeah, it's all good.
When you're not around.
Exactly. Oh no, they do to my face. Okay. But I just come from a long history of military families. My grandpa was in the Navy, World War II. My dad was in Marines in Vietnam. And I really didn't think there was any other choice besides just I was going in the military. And I think the Air Force recruiter got a hold of me first. And that's why I chose to join the Air Force.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so you joined the Air Force. You did your 4 years in there, and when you got out, what did you decide to do?
So after I got out, as most transitioning members go, you're kind of like, well, what do I do? Went through all the courses in the military that would teach you how to get out. I chose to finish my college degree, which I started with the University of Maryland while in, and I had 3 focuses. One was in business, one was in political science, and the other was in, I thought for a while I wanted to be an English teacher, so chose secondary English. And I also chose to start my family and do that. Well, I found that after getting my degree, really wasn't as useful as I thought it was going to be, first of all. And I didn't really enjoy teaching in the schools. I loved the kids, but I wasn't a fan of the bureaucracy. So one day we were selling a house, and I had a really, really bad realtor, like just bad, did not have our best interest in mind. Ended up actually in a state of not homelessness. We found a place to go, but we lost a deal on a house. And I'm like, I can do better than this. I can represent people better. It was horrible. So I decided to become a realtor. And
awesome.
It was brought to out of discontent.
Out of spite.
Exactly.
Well, that's I think that's really funny. And everyone kind of ends up in their journey in their own way, and I find that one to be kind of charming and funny. The fact that you thought that you could do better, and lo and behold, you are.
Yeah, here we are 20 years later, continuing to try to do better and help out and truly help others.
Awesome. So so you've been a realtor in Michigan, been a realtor in Colorado, and you've been out here for about 10 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, as I mentioned, VFW commander, what was that like, your time doing that?
The VFW is a great organization when it's, I think what needs to happen with the VFW is we need to bring younger people in and to kind of update and freshen it up a bit. I really enjoyed the people there. I enjoyed serving them. Both my husband and I, my husband was a commander prior to myself. So we really enjoyed our time just being able to get in there, help people, and try to bring some fresh blood, for lack of a better word, into the organization. Ultimately, what I found is since VHN was beginning to grow about the same time I was commanding VFW, I had to take my focus and focus in on VHN and step away from the VFW, but I think it's a great organization. And I continue to plan outreach to them and continue working with them in different ways.
Awesome. And I forgot to mention your husband is a vet as well, and
Yes.
he helps with VHN as well.
Yes, he does. Yeah, Army vet, did 3 tours in Iraq and Kuwait. So
Awesome.
he's a busy guy.
Yeah. And so you're in real estate. You have this veteran history, your family, and so what was kind of the catalyst? What was the idea? What happened that gave you the idea for VHN? And also, can you kind of just give us a brief description of VHN?
Sure. So I'll start with the problem. And the problem that I saw, I think that any business, you need to address a problem or identify a solution for somebody. And what I saw was, with 20 years in real estate, veterans time and time again were getting preyed upon. Predatory lenders, realtors not representing them. I actually, in 2012, they passed another law because even the VA and the government recognized that veterans were being preyed upon. Loan companies were going back after them to refinance them as quickly as 1 or 2 months after they bought a house, put them into an adjustable rate mortgage, steal away all their equity. And they found that veterans, because we're typically, it's funny to say we're trusting, but we do believe that, oh, you're the person in charge, you're going to have my best interest in mind. We typically would trust these people and consequently lose tons of our equity. Or when we're going to get our initial home or get our first loan, there's major companies out there like Veterans United, to mention one, who's the biggest VA lender in the nation. They on average charge $10,000 more for a mortgage upfront and closing costs, and they're typically about a point higher than someone that's a local lender. And and they don't even have, they say they're for veterans, they work with veterans, but they don't have veterans on their board. Well, they have a board that has veterans, but they just don't represent veterans in the way that I think they should. And I thought, this is a huge problem. We can do better than this, right? We need to get the word out to the veteran population of, here's what's an acceptable loan. Here are people that will take care of you. And here's what you can expect, when you're going to buy a house. And so consequently, I founded VHN with the educational model in mind that we are going to begin to educate veterans. And even before they buy a house, our goals and what we're doing is reaching out to colleges, reaching out to populations that normally don't have access to this information, saying, hey, here's just some basic guidelines. And it's a red flag if you see X, Y, or Z. If you see someone charging you $10,000 in closing costs, you should not be paying that in closing costs.
Run for the hills. Yeah.
And if you have a disability, you don't have a funding fee. And just educating these people. So Veterans Housing Network is a nationwide veteran to veteran real estate referral network. And what I did to counteract this predatory nature is, when you reach out to VHN, we put you in touch with a realtor who's also a veteran and has been vetted. And that veteran will have your best interest in mind and will align with the values of VHN. And what they will do is they will then put you in touch with a local lender who will take care of you and give you the best possible rates because they've also been vetted. And it's kind of an upside down model. Most veterans are like, oh, well, I qualify for a loan, they'll go online and apply at a major company. And then they're locked in, they kind of get roped into that system. We want to give them options and turn it upside down, say, contact a realtor, we'll get you hooked up with the lender, and let's represent you in the best way possible. And then we give back 10% to local veteran nonprofits.
I think as soon as I heard about VHN and what you guys do, I thought it was great. I thought it was brilliant. Just because I know from my own personal experience, not only being a lender, but being a vet as well, I've gotten to see both sides. And like the Veterans United and some of those larger vet places, you know, they're a business just like anyone else, and you would be surprised at what they get away with because they have veterans in their title,
Actually,
which,
I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
oh no, go ahead.
I spoke, there's a gentleman up here that works with the VA, and he was endorsing us. And he's actually has Veterans United on his watch list as predatory lenders, and they're trying to figure out ways to get in there and change that paradigm with them and make it so they're not taking advantage of veterans. But he actually has a watch list of these larger companies, and they're so large, they're hard to get into and like crack that nut. But the VA does have them on the radar, which is comforting, at least, that it's being recognized on some levels.
Absolutely. And, you know, there are certain veterans that come from different socioeconomic backgrounds. Some may have more education than others. You know, a lot of military join because, you know, that may be the only option for their future. So without that education, this is kind of a common meme or common joke for newly enlisted, is they go out and they buy that Camaro with the 25% APR.
Right.
And so we can see that when veterans apply for VA home loans, because they, you know, they apply with, say, Veterans United first, and they just see approved, and they just want to get into a house.
Yeah.
And this is a great opportunity for them to see, hey, you can get a VA loan pretty much anywhere, but who's got your back?
Right.
And so that's really important. And the education piece as well, because I mean, myself, even when I got out, I didn't know much about the VA loan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've learned the most being a mortgage loan officer, with the hiccups that you go against, the problems, some of the difficulties,
Mm-hmm.
and how to use that to your best advantage. So I think that's really important.
I think, and I think you hit the nail on the head. Is I wrote a blog, which I shared with you, but the your net worth as a homeowner is, you're 40 times more wealthy than when you're not a homeowner, than you're a renter. And it's that military mindset. They get the first paychecks, they go out there, they buy the cars, and they're renting, and they don't know that they have an option to buy a house at a decent rate. They don't know how to go about it. And that's what we're hoping to do, is educate. And like I told you the story of our friend Anthony, who he's 27 years old. He's been in the military for almost 10 years, and he's been renting the whole time in Colorado Springs. We had a meeting with him, and he's under contract now to buy a house and increase his net worth. He already has equity in his home. You can't tell me that a Joe can save $30,000 a year, put it away in savings. They're not going to do it. But if you have a home and it increases in value, boom, you have instant equity. You now have changed the trajectory of your future with home ownership. So I'm really a huge advocate for just home ownership for veterans and helping them understand how to achieve that.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's really important. So, you know, with speaking of, you know, you're a vet as well. What traits or what benefits do you think that you've picked up from the military that have helped your success?
You know, there's a lot of things to touch on, but some of the main ones that come to mind are obviously discipline. I think that's just a given with any most military members, is discipline. With the ability to, you know, today I don't want to write my blog. Well, guess what happens? It's okay. I will sit here and I will not leave my desk until my blog is written. Most days I'm like up and writing it, but whether or not I want to do it, it doesn't matter. So that's something that I think is really huge. And then also the ability to adapt to different situations, markets, changes. You know, how many times did things not go as planned? So you have to figure out a plan B and sometimes a plan C. That ability to shift your thinking in a different direction to still reach your target, I think that has definitely helped me. And one of the other things I think that's helped me is just always moving forward despite setbacks. You know, for instance, our new website, our new and improved and awesome website, launched 2 days before this pandemic started. And that definitely took the wind out of my sails. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of messed around for a month and played. I'm like, well, time off, because the plan I had to roll it out was completely different. And that's okay. We just adapt, we figure out how to move forward, and you overcome that. And we've got a lot of momentum since then. And I've seen some significant gains. So I think never losing ground definitely is something else, that mindset of, I have a goal, it will be achieved, no matter what.
Yeah, no, I think that's really great. The discipline and the accountability, especially, in this line of work, being an entrepreneur, no one's holding you accountable except for yourself.
Yep.
Maybe if you have a good spouse, they'll get on you a little bit, but
he did help with that. He did help with that at one point. He's like, are you really, like, what you do? I'm like, okay. Yeah.
Come on, get to work.
But, exactly.
And adapt and overcome. You're always going to have those roadblocks, those hiccups. That's a big military mantra. Adapt and overcome. So, things happen in life, and you just have to accept that.
Yeah, and then there's times it's not going to be easy. I mean, really, let's face it. There's points in building a business where you're just like banging your head against the wall, and that's like, okay, I'm going to embrace this, and what am I learning from this, and then move and figure out a different direction to go. Contact people, to reach out to, and network with, and get other ideas, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel, and just kind of shift that brain a little bit.
And for a lot of us, I mean, this is the prime example, 2020, of adapting and overcoming.
Right.
It's unfortunate, all the stories that you hear out there, of people losing work, not by their choice. So it's really rough, and it's not fair. But that's, unfortunately, that's what life is, and you need to be able to take those on, to survive. So I think that's great. Keep on moving forward. And you mentioned your website. I love your website. The layout of it is really nice, really easy to navigate through, and lots of information, and those blogs are really good. And then you also mentioned that you found yourself, throughout COVID, it's kind of twiddling your thumbs.
Right.
And that's an example of, we all go through those phases and those transitions, and we're all not perfect. But, there needs to be some self-awareness that when the time comes, you need to get back up and hop on that horse.
I think that's one thing that we veterans are extremely hard on ourselves. I think we seek perfection all the time, and we're like, well, we should be doing better than this. We're stronger than this. We're better than this. And I think the biggest thing I've learned with this year is giving yourself some grace. People need their mental health days, whether you want to admit it or not. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh gosh, I'm this awesome business person, I never struggle. We each have our struggles. And I think if people start talking about them more, and like say, it's okay, today I'm gonna do my blog, and this isn't today, but if this was a day, today I'm gonna do my blog, and then the rest of the day I'm taking off because I need a mental health day. Or I need a day, I need to go spend time with my daughter this afternoon. And this is a priority. And I think that's one thing that this year has really taught me, is it's okay to step back a little bit. The business, your objective is still gonna be met, but it's not gonna be met if you're stressing yourself out and beating yourself up and saying, oh, I should have done so much more. Some days you can't. Some days you're gonna be a rock star and you're gonna blow it out of the park. So I think allowing yourself, when you're an entrepreneur and you're starting out, that ability to just give and take a little has definitely helped me at times, just recognizing that. And like you said, the self-awareness, that it's okay. Not every day is perfect, but there's a lot that are really good.
Yeah, and in these times you need that grace, and it helps to be able to be vulnerable. I myself found a lot more peace now that church has opened back up. We jumped into a small group, so it's good that you can find those things now if you search for them, whether it's meditation, working out, yoga, but find something that's going to help clear your mind, but keep you in a positive mental space. Mental health, which a lot of veterans struggle with, is also very important.
And I think what you're doing is awesome too. So reaching out and showing people that, here's real people. Your other interviews have been great. And real people that, we all have setbacks, and it's okay. It's okay. And I don't think anybody needs to be the epitome of strength every day. They have to be able to say, I can reach out, to other veterans who have struggled with this. And that's the key part of our community, is not being an island. Most of my businesses, well, all of my business here, except for 2 clients, have been veterans. And we have in-depth talks about, what their struggles are. Because once we get to know each other, it's pretty easy to open up, because we all get it. We understand each other. And it's very positive. And I've actually, a couple of these people I've sold different homes to, they've networked with each other because I've introduced them to each other. Now they have new friendships. So I think it's important that we're constantly reaching out, even if it's difficult sometimes.
That's great. So you've been pretty much in business by yourself for the last 20 plus years. What advice would you give to someone that's looking to take that plunge into entrepreneurship or start their own business? What can you think of to help them?
I think the first thing is your idea. Take action immediately. Don't dilly-dally. Immediately take action. As soon as you have a good idea, someone else is going to have that same good idea, and you need to be the person in front of that wave. If you're unsure of the action to take, reach out to people. Like, go on Facebook, go on LinkedIn. Ask people for help. Now that is hands down one of the hardest things any veteran ever does, is ask another person for help. Because we don't want to look weak, we don't want to look vulnerable. We want to show we can do it on our own. But guess what?
Don't want to look dumb.
Yeah, you don't want to look dumb, but you can't. Like, it's impossible. If I were trying to do this on my own, we wouldn't be sitting together, because we wouldn't have met. I've met tons of great people that have inspired me and given me great ideas to propel forward. So I guess my biggest tip would be ask for help. Do your research, get online, and identify if it's something you're really passionate about. If I wasn't passionate about VHN, I wouldn't be able to put in the time. A lot of people take their hobbies and they want to turn them into businesses. And then it's not your hobby anymore. Then you've lost something that's a quality of life for you. So definitely look at what you're looking to do and say, am I passionate about it? Can I sustain it when times get rough? Because the only thing that keeps me going is every time I save a veteran from going through Veterans United, I have saved somebody. I have changed their financial future. I've saved them over the course of a loan, who knows, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. Yeah. So that to me is a success every time. And that's what drives me. Days I don't feel like getting up and doing this, I'm like, no, you can help one more person. And it feels great. Get that little serotonin release every time, you're like, so you definitely have to be passionate about what you're doing and believe in what you're doing. And ask for help, and just and know who you're marketing to. I think a lot of people get into business and they don't identify their market, and you need to know who your market is too. But definitely my guess is a big ask for help. Ask.
Yes, all great stuff. Action was a problem for me when I first started out, because I was an idea guy. I had all these great ideas, but when it came to do them, I chickened out, or well, maybe that may not work out, or someone else is doing it. But talking about vulnerability, I was completely terrified to start the series. I had never done anything live on social media, hardly any video, but I thought that there would be a huge benefit from doing it. And so I just took that plunge, and I've gotten great feedback from everyone. It's we're helping out a lot of businesses. So I feel very fulfilled and honored to be able to do this now. So action is just do it.
It's it. You do. You do. You have to take that. And I can't tell you with VHN, we didn't touch on this earlier, but I've had the idea for 5 years. And I did dilly-dally around a little bit, and luckily no one else came in and did what I'm doing. But once I finally said, okay, I'm doing it, taking the action was really the hardest part. I had to invest money in it too. And, spending $10,000, in getting the website going and all that wasn't comfortable. And I was like, am I really gonna do this? I'm like, I guess I am now, yes.
Yeah.
Taking action is difficult. And if you do it, you get that ball rolling and that momentum keeps going, and then it's.
And with that commitment that you need, but as you mentioned, reaching out. I mean, and this is a theme that we touch on every single episode, is that there are tons of people out there, including yourself, including myself, that want to help others, that want to give advice. I mean, you know, even if it's another mortgage guy, I mean, there's plenty of opportunity for everyone in this country. And so, you know, there's no sense in being selfish and having hard feelings about helping someone else out, in my opinion.
I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. It's so important to me. I believe in an abundance mentality, and being in the real estate industry, a lot of my peers don't agree with that. They think we're competing all against each other. But yes, there's a pool of buyers, but there's enough for everybody if you're just talking about real estate. But veterans intrinsically like to help other veterans. I want to help you, you want to help me. I can't think of any veterans that don't want to help each other. We'll give you the shirt off our back. And you're right, if we just reach out to our community of veterans, we all want to help each other, and we don't have to worry about I'm taking away from somebody by helping them and sharing some of my secrets. There's enough for everybody to go around. There's more people being born every moment. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then you said do the research. I mean, we have the internet at our disposal. Everything is easy to find now, to learn how to do the series. I Googled it, I YouTubed it. So, the resources are there, but it takes the time and the commitment and the follow through to do that. But that's all really good stuff there.
Look at you, you've done it. So you've done a good job.
So VHN, so, you got the idea for it, and the idea was kind of to flip the script. So rather than these veterans going to these predatory lenders, charging extraordinary amounts of cost to the borrower, you thought, hey, why don't we set up this community where we can vet the vets of the realtors and the lenders. That way, we have their best interests. And to top it all off, the donation of 10% of the proceeds to a nonprofit, I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. It's really worked well so far, or we've seen it implemented, and it's a great network. I have some rock star realtors in there that they definitely serve the veteran. I can call Joel down in Colorado Springs, one of the realtors, and I can call him at 9 o'clock on a Sunday night, and he'll get a hold of somebody right away, because that's how we work. We have discipline, we have follow through, and we're not lazy in general. So we all like to work hard typically for a cause. So I think it definitely has worked out really well. And then just watching veterans get into better loans. Our ultimate goal is to get to be at each base, each location as the go-to people. So you go to the housing office, to PCS, or you're going to ETS, you're like, what do I do? Who should I reach out to? Or you say you're PCSing in, say Fort Carson, you can reach out to base housing. They say, contact Veterans Housing Network. They'll take care of you. And since we're veterans, we understand, oh, you have, permissive TDY for 7 days or 14 days, we better hustle and get you something in there, so we understand what's going on. And our goal is to be the go-to people so we can continue to keep that script flipped and they're not reaching out to these big companies on the internet.
Yeah, and that's great. I was going to mention that it's not just for vets, it's for active duty, reservists. I mean, it's a great resource for basically anything military.
And our hope is one day to, as we continue to donate, I'd like to build small housing communities one day with the proceeds, thinking large, thinking in the future. And even civilians could utilize the program if they wanted to help out the veteran community with that, because the proceeds will still be donated. So.
Oh yeah. I didn't even think about that. That's that's awesome. Okay, well that was just awesome. Thank you so much for coming on, Michelle. Is there anything else that you want to add?
I think we've covered pretty much everything. I'm just really excited about where we're going and what it's looking like, and the response we've received has been overwhelmingly positive. And I think it's a great thing, and I think what you're doing is a great thing. So I really appreciate you doing this for the veteran community. The positive change is definitely needed. And on an internet platform where we don't have to wear masks.
Cheers to that.
Right.
Well, thank you so much. Once again, veteranshousingnetwork.com, all over social media. So once again, thank you for your time, Michelle.
Yeah. Thank you, Jake.
Thanks. You have a good one. Bye-bye.
You too.